Thanks for checking out GF Explorers. Today, well, we did it. We ordered our rig. I want to give a shout out to Lazy Days. If you're in a market for a rig and you live along Colorado's Front Range, go see Mark Rogers over at the Lazy Days in Loveland. Great salesman, did a great job with us and got us the deal we were looking for. And then another shout out to the Western Regional Manager for Vanleigh. I had reached out to them with a couple of questions that I had about measurements and different things on the rig. The Western Regional Manager got back with me directly, quickly answered my questions, welcomed us to the family, and so we hope to have a long, good relationship with Vanleigh.
So now that we've made our decision on which rig, we had a whole bunch of decisions to make after that big decision. There is a build sheet that goes along with just about every RV, and the Vanleigh build sheet for the 394RK had lots of options on it. From decor to interior and exterior. So we're going to go through and talk about why we chose what we chose. And we're going to start with the decor because that's the first thing on the build sheet. And that was very, very important to us because if you've watched our videos, you've heard us talk about the Grand Design Solitudes that are wonderful rigs, but there were no decor options. It was brown, brown, or brown. And we really wanted something more light and modern for our interior.
Vanleigh has three different options for interiors, primarily having to do with the cabinets. Their first is the chestnut. Secondly, there's something they call shadow. And of course, the one that we fell in love with, the white linen. So that was what we ended up going with the dove gray furniture and trim.
So for the interior options, there were quite a few. And the first one on the list was solar shades. And you're probably thinking, okay, doesn't it already come with shades? And it does. It comes out with blackout shades, which is great for privacy. But if you're going to be in your rig all day and you want to get some light in, but you don't want the glare, the solar shades are perfect for that. So we went ahead and did that upgrade, thinking it was really going to fit our lifestyle quite well.
The next thing we had to think about was a residential fridge versus a gas electric battery fridge. And because we have a cooking channel and we cook 99% of our meals at home, we opted for the convenience and the size of the residential fridge.
I like the hominess, the residential fridge.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can't forget the most important part of the residential
Ice
fridge.
and water in the door.
Yes, we kind of like that. So there was something else in the kitchen that was a huge option and you really, really wanted.
Yeah, and because of the cooking channel, we create a lot of dishes. Serving dishes, pots, pans, baking dishes, we've got a lot of them. So I really wanted the dishwasher. As we're cooking, going through our videos, I think it's a great thing to just be able to open up the drawer, get them down out of the way of the video shoot, and then just be able to push a button and have clean dishes.
Yeah, I mean, we do hand wash a lot of dishes and we still will, but it's going to be nice to have that additional help in the kitchen because, you know, the amount of dishes we create on a video shoot day is immense. It's quite a bit. So I think it's going to be wonderful. I was a little worried about losing some cabinet space, but the good thing about a dishwasher is when you're not using the dishwasher, you can kind of store stuff in it.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
The other thing is if you are not planning to stay in a lot of camps or parks, water could be an issue with the dishwasher if you're boondocking. We're not going to do a lot of boondocking, so we thought, oh, we can probably, you know, it'll work out well with the dishwasher.
Yeah, we'll primarily be in full hookup campsites. And speaking of water issues and water usage, I think your big thing that you wanted
was the washer and dryer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I have quite a few sensitivities or allergies to chemicals, I cannot wash my clothes in anybody else's washing machine. So we had to have a washer and dryer. And I'm so thrilled that we're going to have one in the rig. It's a stackable washer and dryer. It's not a combo unit. It's going to keep me safe and comfortable and not allergic to anything. And I think it's going to be really convenient. And the same thing applies, don't you think, we're going to be in parks, so we're going to have to worry about the water usage and things like that. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you talk about with the washer and dryer, one of the things we were concerned about is the amount of space between the bed and the back wall, the closet, which is where the washer's located.
Right.
So one of the decisions that we made, we've always slept in a king-size bed.
Yes, we have.
We took the measurements, and there's approximately 10 inches of space on each side of the bed between the wall and the closet on each side of the bed. If you move down to a queen-size bed, That space goes up to 15 inches on each side of the bed.
Which is a big difference.
Which is a huge difference. And when we weighed the factor of, do we want a king bed? Do we get the queen bed and have the extra space to kind of get around the bed, especially when you're putting your clothes away, coming out of the washer, folding them, putting them away in the closet. We opted for the queen bed and having the extra space between the wall and the bed to move around in.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good. I would be okay if there was only 10 inches on the other side of the bed, right up at the wall. But on the closet side, it was just really tight. And I knew it was going to be one of those things. I was sure we were going to be like, why didn't we get the queen bed? So I'm really happy we did that.
And the good news is, if we ever end up missing a king size bed that we just can't stand it, we can always just put a king size mattress in there.
We could do that, but I don't think we'll have that issue. But you never know.
So the next thing on the build list is the exterior options. And these are kind of fun to think about too.
Yeah.
And it actually gave us a lot to think about. One of the first things on the list are axle upgrades that you can make to the rig. Now, the 394 Arcade does come standard with 8,000 pound axles. Vanleigh offers some upgrades that sound enticing on the surface, such as disc brakes, upgraded tire package. However, we opted to not get any of the axle upgrades because we made the call and got an appointment with MoreRide to get the fully independent suspension with the disc brake upgrade. And we already have an appointment set in Elkhart to get that done the second week of July. We're looking forward to that upgrade. When we weighed now that obviously is a little bit more expensive than just the disc brake option with Vanleigh. It's a couple $1,000s more, but we really weighed the option of, we wanted disc brakes. We like the idea of the safety factor of the disc brakes, but for a couple $1,000s more, you can move up to that fully independent suspension. And I think it has like 5.5 inches of travel. Every wheel moves independently. And so I think the money is going to be more than worth it. The money that we're going to spend, it's the value of it is more than worth it. Now, if you're thinking of upgrading to the MoreRide suspension, you look on the internet, a lot of the forums and boards, it says that MoreRide is booking out into 2023 already for their independent suspension upgrades. If you're thinking of doing this upgrade, I would suggest you give them a call. I never thought ever that we were going to be getting the suspension upgrade in 2022.
Yeah.
I figured we'd have to wait till at least early spring of 2023. However, I don't know if I got lucky or what, but when I called, they had an appointment. They had appointments for the second and third week of July. So we took one, even though at the time we didn't even have our rig ordered yet.
No, but we knew in our plans that being in Indiana at that time was going to be perfect because we're kind of headed that way anyway. So it all fell into place. We're so excited. So the next exterior option, which I'm not really sure why it's on the exterior, I consider it an interior, but I did not design the RV, is the hot water heater. The standard hot water heater in the rig is a 10-gallon hot water heater tank. But we had the option of going to the tankless Truma system. And because I like long hot showers, and we're going to be in parks all the time where I probably could have a long hot shower, I was really concerned that 10 gallons wasn't enough. And that sounds very excessive. I doubt I use that much in a shower all the time. But anyways, I wanted the option. I wanted to be able to have that long hot shower. And because we do cook a lot and do a lot of dishes, I was worried about the hot water for when we're doing that.
And the washer and dryer.
And the washer and dryer. So we had a lot of concerns, and I thought it was really a really smart upgrade for us to make.
So when you're going through the build list and looking at all of these different options, you can take what is already a pretty expensive rig and things can get out of control pretty fast.
Yes.
So we took a really hard look at this next option, and it was the option to have a third air conditioning unit. So as we were looking at the pricing, things are adding up fairly quickly. And my past experience with full timing in a Class A, now that rig was a little bit smaller. It was only 38 feet versus the 42 feet we're going to have. But I never really saw the need for a third air conditioner unit. On really hot days, it can get somewhat uncomfortable, but I think those days are kind of few and far between.
I hope they are.
So I think in order to save some money, I feel like we're going to go without that third air conditioning unit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a decision we're going to find out probably pretty quickly if it was the right decision or the wrong decision. worst case scenario, we can always have a third one put in. Yeah, it'll probably be a little bit more expensive.
It'll be more expensive for sure.
But we wanted to try it without. I think we're going to be fine, but you never know. That's what fans are for.
That is what fans are for. And there are plenty of fans in the rig.
Yeah, so I think we'll be fine. We are chasing 70 degrees, so hopefully we won't be in the 80s and 90s where it'll be a problem.
So speaking of keeping cool, now let's talk about awnings and slide toppers.
Yeah. Well, the awning, it comes with a really wonderful awning on the passenger side, the door side of the rig. But the option to add a second awning was on the build sheet. And I really wanted to have an awning that stretched almost the entire length of the rig for a couple of reasons. One, that's the side where my office will be, so I wanted it to be as shady as possible. And two, we're going to do a lot of outdoor cooking and just hanging out outside. So we wanted to have an area under one awning for our like outdoor kitchen, and then another area for where we sit and have our table and we eat. And so that to me was I had to have option.
Yeah,
sure.
and so with that second awning, it is literally the entire passenger side of the rig or door side of the rig is an awning. So
I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, I think that's a total worthwhile investment for sure. So, and then that kind of leads us up to the slide topper issue,
Which are like little awnings on top of
which are little awnings on top of your slide outs.
Yeah.
Now, there are tons of videos, pros and cons. It feels like slide toppers are one of those controversial options. Everybody has an opinion. They're not worth the money. They are worth the money. And so I go again based on my experience with a Class A previously. I had them.
And you liked them.
And I liked them. I always saw the value in them. Especially considering we are going to be parked for multiple weeks at a time, 3 weeks to a monthly lot rate. And I believe that will really help with controlling temperature over the slide outs, especially since your office is going to be in one of those slide outs.
Yeah, definitely one over my office. And also it's going to help protect the slide itself from the sun and from the elements more than it would if you didn't have a slide topper on there. I just think it's a great idea all the way around. It's not just you don't want to have to clean off the tops of your slides. You're going to have to do that anyways to some degree, but it's really that protection from the elements and the little bit of coolness that it might bring us. And since we don't have a third air conditioner, we need all we can get.
Yeah, exactly. Well, since we're working in the rig full-time, one of our considerations is sound deadening. I mean, we are going to be in a campground.
Yeah.
And there's noises going on during the week.
During the day.
During the day.
Time. Yeah.
And so one of the options was dual pane windows. And lucky for us, most of our RV dealerships that we went and toured rigs at were right next to I-25.
Yes.
So we had the luxury of hearing huge traffic noise when we were touring many rigs. So we had the opportunity to sit and spend some time in rigs both with and without dual pane windows.
And it was much better with the dual pane windows.
It was slightly quieter.
Yeah, and we're used to dual pane windows living in Colorado. That's what almost everybody has. And then that's the other benefit of them is keeping the rig either cooler or warmer, whatever the case is, keeping that temperature more stable. With single pane windows, it wouldn't be quite as easy to do that. So and we're going to be coming back to Colorado 2 or 3 times a year. We could be coming when it's a little bit cooler. So we wanted all the help we could to maintain our interior temperature.
Yeah, and there is one disadvantage of the dual pane window.
What's that?
The dual pane window basically
that's right.
opens out, so airflow is potentially limited. Where you have a single pane window, you have the slide with the bigger screens.
Right. Well,
So-
I get that, but that's also less dust that comes in too.
That's a great way
how
of
you look at
thinking about that, and that's why there's also max air fans in the rig too to help with airflow. So last but not least is the question of generator versus no generator, and going with solar.
That's a big question.
Huge question.
Not as much for us because we have no plans to do any extended boondocking, but on travel days, there will be times we have to get from harvest host to harvest host possibly. So there is going to be that boondocking and we're going to need some sort of generator. But did we want the generator that was an option on the rig?
Yeah. So I think when you talk about boondocking, like you just mentioned, I think there's really like 3 levels of boondocking. I would call one the hardcore boondocker, which goes weeks
Weeks at
or
a
multiple
time,
weeks at a time, disconnected from
Everything.
disconnected from everything. Then I would kind of call it, on the other end of the spectrum, you have the people that are never going to boondock.
Never. Always in a camp.
So then you've got the people, the tweeners, the people that are in the middle. And that's where I think you and I are going to fall into.
Yeah, definitely.
The 2 or 3 days from campsite to campsite where you're staying in a harvest host. And I think the big consideration here is having the residential fridge is going to eat some battery power. And so we're going to need a way to recharge those batteries. And so generator or no generator, part of that consideration for us is solar. And we want some sort of solar system
Eventually.
to help recharge batteries in between travel days or during travel days. And so eventually getting a solar system, we're going to need that space up in that front compartment where a generator would be. So I think we're going to go no generator.
Well, really not no generator that we ordered from the manufacturer. We're going to have a smaller propane powered generator because we do understand we need a generator of some sort. But then we're also going to, pretty quickly after we get the rig, get some lithium batteries so we have more battery capacity too. And then down the road, eventually we will do probably a complete solar system.
Yeah.
So we do have the option to boondock for longer if we can find places that have really good internet. Because I would love to do that, to be out, in the middle of nowhere, sort of, kind of, for a week, as long as I have internet.
And that whole internet question, that's a whole other video.
That's a whole other video, and it's all on Elon.
Are you saying Starlink?
Starlink, yeah. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Super excited to get in the rig and see if we made the right choices.
The right choices. Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be one. We'll have a video. We never should have gone without X, or we never should have got X. It'll happen. It's okay.
Yep. You don't know until you live in it.
True.
Well, we hope our decision process helps you in your decision process. Thanks so much for watching.
And thanks for following us on this journey. I hope it's as interesting to you as it is to us. And coming up, we're going to be talking about trip planning, since we've got to start making some reservations for a year out because we're big planners, and purging, and so many other things that we now have to take care of in the less than 6 months we have before we leave.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Please keep following. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, enable notifications, and until next time,
Happy exploring.